I'll quickly run through her profile again, so that we all capture it. Dr. Anino Emuwa is a global expert in the fields of DE&I, working at the intersection of women's leadership, entrepreneurship, and emerging technologies. She's a former corporate banker with Citibank and managing director of Avandis Consulting in France. Dr. Anino is an independent director on several international boards, including that of Nottingham Trent University. She is a chair she chairs a Y Combinator-backed tech startup. She's a member of the Institute of Directors Expert Advisory Group on Diversity and Inclusion. Dr. Anino is also the founder of the women leadership communities, different women leadership communities, I beg your pardon, including the African Women CEOs Network. She's an award-winning international keynote speaker and was recently named as among the top 100 women of the future. That's within the space of metaverse and Web3. She is a LinkedIn top voice in gender equity. She's a member of the jury for Katia Women's Initiative and the Jack Ma Foundation's Africa Business Heroes, where she mentors impact entrepreneurs. Dr. Anino earned her doctorate in business administration from Nottingham Business School, holds an MBA from Cranfield School of Management, and a BSc in economics from the London School of Economics. Today, we are genuinely honored to have Dr. Anino come speak to us. Don't forget, guys, that this is the Youth in Business Forum, and essentially the focus really is young people, doing their different things, running their own startup. Some at the growth stage level, some really just starting out and all that. And this virtual conference, this virtual summit was designed for one purpose only, to help us scale. And scaling really is relative. Somebody in level 1, level 2 is scaling. Somebody in level 10, level 11 is scaling. So the whole purpose of this conference is to grow. And we have researched, different people to say, who are the authorities? Who are those men and women who can speak, to the integrity of that thing, who can, engender impact, time, verifiable, demonstrable impact. And today, again, we are honored to have Dr. Anino amongst us. So please, everybody, you know the drill. You will have to unmute yourself or type it. Just do something. Let's all welcome Dr. Anino to our meeting. So unmute yourself, clap, type in the chat box, do something. You must do it. Let's go, everybody. You can type it in the chat box.
Welcome, Dr. Anino.
Yes.
We are so glad to have you with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So we will have Dr. Anino speak, and of course, everybody knows the drill. When she's done talking to us, we'll then begin, to ask questions. So, yes, ma'am. The floor is yours, ma'am.
Dingba, thank you so much. Delighted to be here amongst you, everybody. And I know that shall we say, that bio and, all those glorious time studying, researching about entrepreneurship than anything else I've done. As a corporate banker, that's what I wanted to do. But then I thought to myself, here we are in Africa, here we are in Nigeria, and we need to grow. And entrepreneurship is critical and it's important for our development. And that's the reason why I went into research, to look and see why was it that smaller businesses and entrepreneurs weren't getting funding to allow them to grow the same way that we saw big businesses were able to access funding and cheaper funding. So that is to say that my real interest is in how to help entrepreneurs grow, because entrepreneurship is so essential to our economy. So first of all, congratulations to all of you for embarking on this journey. Some of you would have been in for some time, some of you would just have been starting, but congratulations, because entrepreneurship is not an easy journey. And what I found when I was trying to look at why it was difficult and to overcome the barriers for entrepreneurs in order to grow, it wasn't just about funding. There were so many other things. And today I'm quite interested. I find it quite interesting, and I'm glad to be here talking about something that is not really spoken about before. So what is this? Okay, you want to grow and you want to scale. But it's all about the business, all about the marketing, all about creating a product market fit, creating a product, doing your surveys, getting your finance, hiring a good team, making sure you're looking at your cash flows, about your processes, about the technology, every single thing. How many times do we talk about the person who's actually running the business? That is you. You are the most important when it comes to the business. And that isn't something that you should forget about. And if you're the most important person, because without you, there would be no business. Without you, there would be growth. Without you, there will be no revenues. Without you, there will be no hiring. So why is it that we're looking at all of the business and the business growth without looking at the entrepreneur himself or herself? So the first thing is to start off this session, which is about resilience and managing burnout. In fact, I would say avoiding burnout. The first thing is to say that you are the most critical thing, the most critical resource, the most critical person in the organization. And you need to take care of yourselves as much as you take care of everything else. Very often as entrepreneurs, taking care of yourself is last, but that is a bit of a mistake. Embarking on entrepreneurship, obviously, is not the easiest job in the world, as you all know. If it was easy, there'll be many more people in it, and the opportunities will be much less. So it's a difficult task, and that means it is stressful. Until you establish yourself properly, until you have those customers, until you have growth and sales, until you start making profit, you're not home and dry. And then even when you do all of that, that is still the beginning, because that is the start of the journey. Once you've established that you can have a business model that actually works, that is the beginning of the journey. So you have the earlier stage, which is trying to establish yourself, then you're trying to grow. But when you're trying to scale and you look at all the things that are needed to scale, knowledge, know-how, product market fit, to have a good team, to have the financing, to have the infrastructure, everything, there is only one thing that doesn't scale, right? And I know that this session, because I'm the one giving presentation, there'll be question and answers, but we're going to make it interactive. And please tell me in the chat, what is the one thing that doesn't scale in the business? Okay, so here you are trying to scale your business, and there's one thing that doesn't scale in the business. Can anybody take a guess? You certainly have to scale you have to have customers, right?
Sure.
You have to have your infrastructure, whether it's a technology platform, or do you have branches if it's physical? You have to have funding, your processes. The only thing that doesn't scale is you. You are the only thing that doesn't scale. You are the entrepreneur. You will have, maybe some of you might have co-founders. There's a possibility that you might have even grow the number of founders. It tends to be rare, but you are not going to scale. So how does that one person who doesn't scale, or those two co-founders who don't scale, how are they able to build this organization that scales? And here is very often where the problem is, because very often, without realizing it, we take ourselves as entrepreneurs as a resource without limits, and we're trying to scale, but we do have our limits. And when we don't respect those limits, and when we don't look after our bodies, when we don't look after ourselves, we don't look after our capacity, that is when we start to experience burnout. So starting a little bit about resilience. So resilience is just the ability to withstand, adversity and to carry on and continue. And there are many types of adversity that you would withstand. With an entrepreneur, for example, there are really so many challenges. In fact, people will say that the entrepreneurship journey is all about resilience. But just when you think you're being resilient, there's another thing that comes along, another shock, something that you didn't expect that comes, and how on earth are you going to cope? So certainly you don't embark on the entrepreneurial journey unless you have that ability to withstand, that resilience and the persistence. Otherwise, at the first challenge, you are certainly going to give up. So resilience is really a core strength of an entrepreneur. But even though resilience is a core strength of an entrepreneur, still you are tried to your limits over and over again. And you need to know how to be able to cope with that. We started off by saying that the journey of an entrepreneur is stressful. And I know that we're having people who are joining us, and I would say welcome to you. And just to say that this session, I'd love it to be as interactive as possible for yourself, so that I know what it is that you find useful to you, and that it's something that is important for you. So if we look at stress, which is the starting point of all of this, my question to you is, and it'd be great if you can put a message in the chat. We have the chat box there. It's a great way to interact. If we talk about stress from 0, which is no stress, to 5, an extreme stress, right? And then in the middle 3 is averagely stressed. Can you self-rank yourself on a scale of 0, no stress, to the scale of 5 as an entrepreneur? What level of stress do you feel as an entrepreneur? Are you 0, not stressed at all? Are you 5, extremely stressed? Are you 3, average? Or 1, slightly, 2, a little bit? 4, very stressed, 5 is extreme. Okay, so look forward to having those in the chat. I can start seeing some numbers. I can see 5, I can see 3, 4, I can see extremely stressed. Yes. So do keep those numbers coming in. But certainly what I can see already is that we're looking at a range from, there's only a range of, for 3 is the minimum here, and many are in 4 and even 5. That is not unusual. If we were in some other careers and we're asking them, it's likely that you see a difference, it would be different. Right now, many people in all fields are feeling stressed because of the economic environment. So on top of the entrepreneurship, the stress of your role, you also have the environmental stress. Okay, so we have this. We even have some of you are even not even using the scale. I say extreme stress, 5 plus ignorance, right? Yet stress is the single most cause of burnout. So the question you can say is, okay, so if I'm an entrepreneur and by nature I am stressed, then how can I avoid the level of stress? So if you're in a low stress job, for example, and maybe not, sadly, maybe not in Nigeria in today's world, but a job that is more predictable, and you can guarantee your income and all of that. So something like, maybe you're like a teacher, for example. Okay, I know things are changing. Then you would have lower levels on average. But if you are already in a high stress job, that means that you already have a potential for burnout. the question you may be asking is, so what is burnout? And okay, what's the difference between stress and burnout? And this is where, and I really love your comments in it. In just one word, when you say stress, what does stress mean to you? Okay, when you say I'm stressed, what does that mean to you? Okay. What does it mean to you, or what do you feel when you're stressed, or how does that stress show itself? Tired, definitely. Tired, okay? So you're stressed, you feel tired. You feel frustrated, overwhelmed, absolutely, overwhelmed, okay? Exhausted, absolutely. Tired, exhausted, overwhelmed. Depression, exactly, depression. Okay. Underachieved. Yep. And if you're underachieved, you're definitely, you're definitely feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, unable to meet up with targets, unstable emotionally. Absolutely. This is real, right? This is real. And those emotions, as you see with stress, they are not progressing. None of those things, when you look at them, if you say them on their own, sound very positive. If you come in and tell your friend, partner, spouse, colleague, I am exhausted, it's not positive. I feel underachieved. I feel unable to meet the target. I feel unstable. I feel under pressure. None of that is positive. So stress is actually it's actually negative. Stress doesn't mean that you have a lot of things to do. That in itself is not a problem. Stress is when all those things then result in all of this, feeling incapable. Those are the elements of stress. Okay? So it's not being busy. It's not that I have a lot of things to do. Those are fine. It is when it then leads to these kinds of emotions that many others that are here that people haven't mentioned, but maybe feeling or haven't thought about it. Anxiety, anxious, fearful, scared. At night, waking up at night and suddenly waking up, right? At night. It's sometimes you feel that it's in your head. You're not expressing it to the closest people around you. Sometimes you're putting up a front because you cannot share it with your staff. I have my team, what am I going to tell them? I have people who have maybe invested in my business, or I have my partner, right? So a lot of stress is also mental. It's mental. You feel it mentally, and you also feel it physically in exhaustion, tiredness. Right? Emotional is in different ways. Some people are emotional outbursts with anger, even violence. Some are opposite, are withdrawn. There are these range of emotions. And if we're not able to keep some control over them, it becomes extremely dangerous and it's a possibility to lead to burnout. So what do we do about stress? Now, I'm sure some of you say, oh, if I feel stressed because, okay, what kinds of things give stress? Let's put it in your role. Share with us what kinds of things give you stress, right? What makes you feel that you're depressed, or you're exhausted, or you're overwhelmed? What are the kinds of things that give you stress in your job? Okay. So you're there as an entrepreneur trying to build a business. Okay. I know for sure one thing is lack of funding. Absolutely. Okay. So you don't have enough funding. So, or your cash flow. Okay. The other things that can give you stress, for example, your product or service is not selling. You're not getting those customers. That is extremely stressful. Or you have a lot of expenditures that weren't planned. Or you're trying to choose between various options. Oh, absolutely. Decision making is a major. If there's anything about leadership, about leading, if there's one thing about leadership, it is about making decisions. That is 90% of the task, making decisions. If you're starting and you're the one running your business and you're creating a product, you think, oh, I'm there trying to make this thing. So you're looking at the production But in that production, you are making decisions. So decision making is one of the most stressful tasks, right? And that's the most important tasks. So you're trying to choose between various options. You're trying to hire people. Maybe your staff are underperforming, or you can't find the right staff, right? Or or trying to okay, I need to have somebody who's marketing. I need to hire somebody from outside to manage my, I don't know, whether it's social media, or I need I feel that I don't have skills in financing, in this and that. How do I get all of that on board? So these are some of just 1,000,001 things that cause you stress, that can cause you stress. Yes, low sales at all, stagnant. I mean, if revenue, if low revenue is not stressful, what could possibly be stressful? Number one, stress, right? Selling, making those revenues coming, number one stress for a business. And that is very much the focus. How can I sell more? So this is the reality of the life of the entrepreneur. Very stressful. So the answer is, what do you then do? I'm sure somebody will tell me, I have low sales. If I can get 1,000 customers who are loyal, I will be fine. Okay? If you choose that thing that is making that you're feeling stressed about, and somebody says, how can you deal with your stress? You're bound to say that, remove this thing, right? If I can solve this, I would feel less stressed. But the answer is actually sometimes yes, but not necessarily. Because it's inherent in the business that there will be challenges and there'll be other goals that you have to meet. So even if that particular challenge is over, so for example, somebody delivers you the clients, then how do I produce the thing? How do I keep them, right? How I've sold the thing to them. He's not paying, she's not paying. So it leads to another whole round of stress, for example. Okay, so I won't speak too much about running your business and the things you need to run your business, because that is being done in this course of the program. So how to run, how you can get help and assistance in your business, right? So you can deal with those issues. So we won't talk about that too much, because that is part of this program. But here, what I'm going to talk about is how do you manage that stress, that you feel it physically yourself. Okay. Many of these things you actually know, but sometimes you don't think about them intentionally, and sometimes you put it at the back of the mind because it's less important or less urgent, by the way. You feel it's less urgent, and I should do A, B, C, and D. But actually, it's not. It is extremely important. The first one is physical and mental. The physical bit is staying physically fit. And then I hear from entrepreneurs, oh gosh, how can we stay fit? Because if am I supposed to go running, going to the gym, going to walk in the morning? When I wake up in the morning, I'm thinking of how. If we look at the most successful entrepreneurs in the world, majority of them, maybe not all, have some kind of fitness routine, because they have learned that being fit, sports and exercise is a way to burn off stress. So the first thing is, look at how are you incorporating physical activity in what you are doing. And that physical activity can be in different ways, even if your job is sedentary. So if you're a tech entrepreneur, for example, get a carpenter to build a stand-up table for you, right? So you're not sitting down all the time at a desk. Get a stand-up table so you're moving between sitting down and standing up. That will bring in some movement into what you do. Give up half an hour, starting your work half an hour early, to take that walk. Or to do, there's so many things you find either on an app. Exercise, very important. Choose what you can do, makes you feel good. People have different things that they do, so you don't necessarily say, I have to be a jogger, I have to do marathon, I have to be cycling, whatever makes you feel good. If for you it's it's weights, buying a couple of weights and doing weights using an app. If it's doing yoga or whatever it is, please incorporate that. It'd be interesting if you also just share how many times you exercise a week, right? Do you exercise? And when I say exercise, it is 30 minutes of continuous physical exercise a week. So how many times do you exercise a week? Okay. Well, I'll tell you what I did before I started. I was off at the gym this morning before I came in. If I can do it at my age, you can all do it because you're all young entrepreneurs. So how many times do you exercise a week? Do share with us in the chat. 0, 1, 2, no exercise at all. 0, okay. Thank you for the brave ones. 0. Thank you for the brave ones who are admitting 4 to 5 days. Okay. 0. Okay. 2 to 3 days, 3 to 4. You know, for those who said 0 right at the very beginning, I believe that you are on the way to exercising, because knowing that and understanding that it's good for you, and yet you quickly were able to say so, means that you're self-recognizing already. And that's the first step to change, self-recognizing, right? That's the first step. So 2 to 3 days, 3 to 5. Okay, I do 30 minutes run for a week, but emotional stress freaked me out. Okay, right. That's an interesting one, because when you do your exercise, one thing that you should feel is that you should feel the rush of hormones that you have after should actually give you some positive feelings, right? So your stress levels, normally, if you can measure stress levels, they actually should go down after exercise. Okay, so if it's not, then try maybe changing your activity or changing the time of the day you do your activity. Very often in the city is not so easy because we don't have places that are easily accessible. Okay, but if you have an app, you have your room wherever you sleep has a space of 2 meters, right? Put down a mat there, use your app and do something, right? A wall, if you have a wall, and you can invest in some weights, there are many exercises you can do out there. The important thing is to have that routine of doing exercise. Exercise has shown that it does reduce stress. So please don't say, I don't have time. Carve out the time. We all have at different sporting levels. I'll be honest with you, I don't like sport. I don't like exercise. I never have. I do it because I know it's good for me. And especially growing older is even more important, right? Sometimes that is the danger with youth, because your body physically is stronger and is in better shape. You use it up, but by the time you use it up, how do you replenish it? So you must make sure that you don't use your body up, because that use of the body can lead to abuse. So don't let use lead to abuse. Replenish what you're using up by exercise. The next thing, of course, has to do with your food. And food and diet is something that it's not when you're hungry and you're sitting there in your office and you now say, oh, where is that? What can we order? What takeout can we order? Or who is that woman who comes around who brings food? Or that young boy who, that's not food. It's not even fuel. A healthy diet has to be planned. You have to take the time and plan it. And when you plan it and it's there, then you follow it. But if you're trying to plan it every day, you will give up. It's the closest thing. Oh, I see somebody here laughing. Exactly. Do you know the thing about food? It's very wicked. Everything that is near you that you like is bad for you. Almost. Why? Me, I don't know. So we have to change that and find those things that are good for us. But you have to plan it. Okay? You actually have to plan it. So we're not going to go into the different things because we know them. Although maybe I will, because what I found that our education in our time, where we had food science and everything for girls and boys from the time of secondary school to from primary school, secondary school, in government schools, it was food, nutrition was very important. I know in your time it's very different. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. Food. Very simply, you must have vegetables, you must have fruits, less carbohydrates. So that is rice, rice, what do you call this thing? Like spaghetti, eba, swallow, less in quantity, right? So fruit and vegetable, less swallow. Okay. And soups are good, but the problem with our soup is that the soup people eat in today's world is fantastic. When we were young, that's only we eat it only in party. All those rishi meats and things that are in there. In our time, we are not poor, but eat one piece of meat. Now you eat 5. It's not good. Chicken, when you eat it and you eat in a quarter, it's too much, actually. A chicken, if you divide it into 8, 1 piece is sufficient. And therefore, it's cheaper anyway. So fruit, vegetable, as much as vegetable, especially fruit, sometimes with kettle sugar, fruit, vegetables, less of carbohydrate, and forget fried and oils and all of that. So these are just some ideas. Now, I know that you young people are very trendy and you like all the smoothies. What is in this? So somebody says that I haven't eaten 4 apple. I have not started the stress of Lagos. It is fine. You can eat the 4 apple, but if you're telling me you're going to the gym and you're doing 50 kilos in the you're carrying 50 kilos, right? That's fine. For half an hour, that's fine because you're burning it off. But you're not burning it off by sitting at your desk. You're not burning it off. Your brain uses a lot of power and energy, and you have to feed it. But it's not on the apple feeding, right? It's on a balanced diet feeding, right? So it's not a diet. When I say diet, I don't mean diet losing weight is not what I'm talking about. Diet just means, actually, what a diet means is the quality of your eating. Very important. So you will find that you feel refreshed. So somebody says, how about eating of bread regularly? Bread in itself, everything is, as it says, in moderation. So bread in itself is not bad. It is just eating too much of it. Okay. If you're going to eat half a loaf, it's not going to help you. If you're going to eat a slice, it's fine. If you're going to eat 2, it's fine. It's not eating a lot of it. It's not because bread is also carbohydrate, right? So if you eat, and we don't really have it here, very often you eat brown bread. But I found that you know what they're doing in our bread, why it's not so good. They add sugar. So brown bread has sugar. So that's the problem we have. So for me, substitute with more of our local foods. Once you have that, all those grains, all those millet and all of those, a lot of them are very, very healthy for us. Be careful what you add in. Sugar is not the best. Okay. So incorporate what I've given you the ideal. It's not that you have to go for the ideal, but at least make that move towards healthier eating as well. Well, if you find me on LinkedIn, if there's anybody who has tried healthy eating and you're honest about it, and has tried regular exercise and you're honest about it too, you have to be honest. This is self-regulatory. If you have tried that and it didn't work for you, send me a message on LinkedIn. If it worked for you, send me a message on LinkedIn and tell me it worked or it didn't work for 1 month. 1 month exercising 3 days a week for at least half an hour and replacing carbohydrates with more fruits and vegetables and avoiding fried anything. Okay. If it didn't work, let me tell me. Yes, I find myself always eating and still get stressed. Yes, stress eating. Oh, you got it. Stress eating shouldn't be, you don't eat know about it's samosa. So you can stress eat. It is what you eat. And it's also, again, preparation. So stress eating could be things like, for example, at the weekend, prepare certain things, right? Do your shopping. That banana, take carrots, or vegetables in season. What I do, take carrots, grate carrots. When they're in season, they're so cheap. You grate it, cut it right, put it in water in your fridge. Maybe now we have more power. In those days, most of us have power now. It's better. Put it in your fridge in water. It will last 3 days, right? Take some out and put it by your laptop or wherever you're working, and eat that. The only things that our groundnuts are not too good. They have some health benefits, but too much of it because of the oils are not too good. And some of the imported ones are really very expensive, right? So be careful in the nuts. But many of our vegetables, prepare them, rinse them, have them next to you. Fruits, eat them. Fruit is best if you even eat it, to be honest, with the fiber. So that banana and that's mango, if you cut it right, it's better to even eat it whole. All the fibers are good for you. So those are some of the things. So if somebody says no money to eat after exercise, you're not paying for the exercise. Or are you paying for the exercise? Don't pay for the exercise. Walk. You're going to invest in your shoes, yes. You walk. You do the free app. You might invest in the mat, which will last you for years. Okay? So please exercise. The cheap ways to exercise. Okay, so you don't have to take a gym membership. So we've talked about the body, food, and all of that. Then the mind. There are many ways in which we use the mind. The mind is some people look at medication. Oh, definitely not medication. Look at meditation. Some people look at meditation, for example. Some people your spirituality, right? And they're different. It depends on how it affects you yourself. We often practice, especially now I'm speaking about the Christian religion and the more modern religions. Very often we may practice it in active ways. That is one part of it. But you will also have that quiet moments, right, as well. They're very important. So find out those quiet moments. That is not all. Okay, that's part of it. So spirituality, if you are spiritual or religious, can help in those quiet moments. Find a person you can talk to. Find that person you can talk to. It may not be one person. You may have a co-founder. You should have a good relationship with them. But sometimes the stress is too much. Everybody's stressed. So you find somebody else. You talk to your partner, he or she, as sympathetic as they are, they can't understand that. One thing that is good actually is a community. This is a community, and I hope you built a community. Find you have a big community. Find a group of entrepreneurs, right, that you meet with regularly. Choose the regularity, whether it's once in 2 weeks, once a month, once a week. Choose your regularity and stick to it, and put structure around those meetings. Today, you can have a situation where people just talk. Today's your own day, and you speak 15 minutes about your issue. Everybody listens quietly. Nobody talks. You listen to that person. You don't give him or her any advice. Let that person talk non-stop for 15 minutes about their issue, and time it. And they must stop at 15 minutes. So it's not 20 minutes, it's 15 minutes. Once they have spoken about it, then the person keeps quiet and allows other people to weigh in on whatever it is he or she is talking about. Okay. Then you can have a topic. Okay, let us this last week of the month we're going to talk about financing. We're going to talk about marketing. You can choose it. It's not a session where you're getting experts. It's yourselves, right? And just talking to somebody else, letting them respond, hearing from them is helpful. So find your group of entrepreneurs we can speak to, right? We can share with. And then I'm going to finish because the time is almost over. I'm going to finish with this. And the last thing is this, is seek help when you need help. Seek help. There is no shame in anything. None. Seek help when you need help. Okay. from the right people. Or the thing I didn't mention is if you have a mentor is a very good person to have, somebody who has done it and been there, and he or she has several years of experience, or or even decades. They are very good. It's a sounding board. Seek help when you need help. Reach out. Do not hide it. Do not keep it and feel that because I'm a leader, I'm the one, seek help when you need help, whether it is whatever the challenges are. Because the only way to find help is when you seek it. So I will stop it there so that we have time for questions and questions. And someone says, the lady was saying that I work remotely. Looking at my kitchen alone gets me carried away. Please turn your laptop so that it's not looking in the direction of kitchen, please. Okay, lock the kitchen door or put a barrier. Okay, or put a note on your laptop. No kitchen until 12 noon. Okay, all right. Delighted to speak to you, to everybody, and please, I would love to see your faces, and Dingba, I'd love to hear from everybody.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This has been an interesting session, and it's more important so because as an entrepreneur, one of your biggest assets is your body. If you don't take care of the body, if you don't take care of the mind, I mean, there's little really to which one will do. And so to have a Dr. Anino Emuwa speak to us very explicitly with usable insights, practicable principles is such, a beautiful, beautiful thing. But I've got a question, Dr. Anino, real quick. We have our next speaker, Big Sis of Life, the former Executive Secretary of the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund in the house, Mrs. Tejumola Abisoye. Please, everybody, you know the drill. Say hi, say welcome, clap, type in the chat box. Let's welcome her. Please, Madam Teju, welcome, ma'am. Welcome.
Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
Welcome, ma'am. We are so glad to have you.
Yes.
So glad to have you.
Now, before you go, Dr. Anino, real quick, I want you to really speak to what do I do when I'm discouraged as an entrepreneur? Because yes, the challenges are there. There are many things out there that is really battling entrepreneurs and that entrepreneurs are fighting with, right? So what do I do when I hit that point where I'm discouraged? Some have even gotten to the point where they are depressed, lots of debts to clear. Some are not able to pay their salaries. Some are running out. There's just lots of things that, entrepreneurs are really, really contending with. So for such people, what would be your counsel, Dr. Anino?
The first thing is that feeling, right, can overwhelm you. And then you're dealing with that feeling of being overwhelmed and not the thing. So the first thing I would encourage is write down exactly what it is. List every single thing. And you find that some of the things are actually quite minor, and you can then focus on exactly what the thing is. That's the first thing. When you focus on that first thing or the 2 or 3 things, and you're clear about them, yourself do it practically, because you're removing the emotional aspect now and dealing with logic. Look at it and say, what are the options? What are my options here? Some of the resources, or rather, some of the help you need may not be internal, it might be external. So something that I do is, what is the worst case scenario? Confront your worst fears. What's the worst case scenario? Right. And something that helps. What happens? And then look for avenues of seeking help if you need that help externally. So 1, write it down. Write down everything. Prioritize. Actually go through the process of writing what your options are. Right. Then see which ones you can start solving. Speak to others. Seek external help. And say, what is the worst thing that can happen? Businesses fold every day, right? So it is a possibility, but we hope that yours will fold and that you might be looking at strategically, looking at how can you strategically change direction, okay? It is risky, undoubtedly, but it should not break you.
Thank you so much. We'll just take one last question. So if you've got a question, you can unmute yourself or type it in the chat, but preferably just ask it, verbally if you've got a question. One quick question so that, we can release Dr. Anino to get into our day. Yes, Tega, please unmute yourself and shoot.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma. Your session has been so powerful, and thanks to the host as well. Quick question. If you design a weekly balanced diet, like what we're supposed to eat Monday through Sunday, right? Is it normal or is it ethical to repeat the same weekly balanced diet the following week, or it has to be swapped? So I'm saying, like, is it one fit, or like if I contact you and say, okay, Ma, please, can you just design a 1 week feeding plan for me, right? Balanced diet with everything, because I don't actually know what's balanced.
Right. Okay.
In this economy where we
Sure. I totally understand. But I would say to you that you can repeat. I mean, for me, and when it even comes to my breakfast, I mean, I eat the same thing every day, 5 days a week, and then I have something, maybe a bit different, at the weekend, right? If it's balanced through the week, then you're fine, right? But some people get bored, right? They don't want to eat the same thing. So, but if you're somebody who doesn't get bored, there's nothing wrong as long as it's balanced, which means you have different fruits and vegetables during the week, for example. Then repeating it makes it easy. It's fine.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Dr. Anino Emuwa. I mean, it's such pleasure and honor, to have had the privilege of hosting you today. I mean, out of your very busy schedule, you have said, Dingba, I'm going to do this, and we are genuinely grateful, to have honored our invitation. For sure, we're going to be coming in with more invitations, whether it is hybrid or physical, way many more invitations coming. One last question before you go, man. Do you have a one-on-one mentoring program? Because I know that, after now, some people might want to reach you personally, to ask you questions and all that. If we want to be able to do that, what do we do?
Yes, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, but unfortunately, no, I don't, because I do mentoring for several organizations, so they're within fixed programs. But do reach out to me on LinkedIn and send me a message on my DM and just mention that you were from the program. Okay, let me take it from there.
Perfect. Thank you so much, man. Again, we are grateful, and we are sure that in the few years.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
We're going to come back to share this,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your wonderful time with you.
Everybody, please, that thank you should keep coming in. Clap your hands, type it in the chat box.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was such motherly advice.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, bye now.
Bye, ma'am. Bye. All right, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am. All right, guys. Remember we had said it yesterday. Today is a full back to back. Don't forget, I love the way Damilola said it in our opening session, that this week is that week of intelligence gathering. If you have to use all those CIA kind of terms, it's a week of intelligence gathering. It's a week of recharging. It's a week of asking questions. It's a week of evaluating where you are. Remember the way our first speaker, Mrs. Ayomigbokwe of No Leftovers, what she said. Success is in seasons, right? You've achieved this success and you have stayed long on it. At some point, you've got to ask yourself, am I still successful? Even though you were successful yesterday, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you must keep asking yourself those questions. Hold on, please. Okay, we're good. All right, you must keep asking yourself, those questions around, am I still doing what I'm supposed to be doing? You must really keep evaluating the different seasons of your life. And that's what really this week is meant for. It is for you to ask yourself questions, ask yourself where you're coming from, where you are at the moment, and what growth is to you, what next level is to you. To the guy on level 10, level 20 is next level. To the lady on level 30, level 50 is next level. So you really must ask yourself, what is growth to you? What is next level to you? And the essence of this 1 week conference is for us to ask those questions and to find answers to those questions. And it's such an honor, again, to have somebody I call my big sis of life. Don't worry, we are not related by blood, but we're related by every other thing. So I'm going to quickly read out the profile. But today, really, and I really must be very honest, Auntie Teju, Mrs. Tejimola Bisoye. Sorry, I call her Auntie, she's my big sis, right? Mrs. Tejumola Abisoye is here first as somebody I genuinely respect on a very personal level. I love and I respect everything about Mrs. Teju, right? And so for me, there are just some people that even if we want to host a conference on water, on selling water, on buying sand, there are just some people in my life that I know that they are the first people to speak to. And Auntie Teju is one of such persons, and I am genuinely honored and privileged to have such a relationship with her. She is the former executive secretary of the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. Of course, Auntie Teju needs really no introduction. Today, we'll just dive straight into it. Again, we welcome you, Mrs. Tejumola Abisoye. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Auntie Teju was supposed to.
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry. She was supposed to be with us yesterday, but of course, some bigger calls came in, and she had to rearrange, her schedule to say, guys, I'm going to honor this invitation today. So, it's not something that we take for granted. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us.
All right.
today.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
Good morning, Peter. Again, everybody's Peter's big sis. Don't worry.